Welcome to the Lesbian Peep Show. Peep Show.
Welcome to Lesbian Peep Show. My guest today is Cat Yezbak. She is a multidisciplinary artist, a musician, a podcast host, Rebellious podcast with Jen Esposito, who she talks about a lot in the episode. She also is an actor and a writer, is currently working on a one-woman show. It's just, there are layers. And I enjoyed this conversation so much, as evidenced by the fact that I never had her introduce herself. We just sort of rolled right into the podcast because we started chatting immediately upon getting on the call. So anyway, I hope that you enjoy this conversation. We talk about gender and being lesbians and the kind of representation we grew up with and our different experiences with men and women's hands and a little bit about perimenopause. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode and check out the show notes for all the places that you can find Cat. Anything you don't like, we can take out. I always have to take something I say out because I'm loose-lipped sometimes when I'm talking to people, and then I'm like, I'm putting this on the internet. I said the other day, I'm floating this term to the community, straight insisting, which is a woman who usually spends a lot of time with lesbians and insists that she's straight, which is a specific thing because I'm both respecting what she says. And most straight people don't talk about being straight because they think of that as just being normal. So if you spend a lot of time insisting that you're straight,
thou doth protest too much. Straight insister. I think that term is fantastic. Why would you edit that out?
Well, it wasn't that. It was that the person I was talking to didn't really understand. And I was like, for example, a lesbian friend of mine has been having a lot of sex with a woman who insists that she's straight.
Ah, I love when that happens.
And then I was like, that's hilarious. But also, she might listen.
So, Susan, anyway, if you're out, but
the gay sex you're having is gay.
Yeah, and perhaps you might not be as straight as you think. We love that for you, and we're here to support any of your interests. But yeah, no, it's interesting when people are having sex with the same gender and insisting that they're heterosexual. It's like, why not just do what you're doing?
Mm-hmm. I did that for a couple of reasons. One is hilarious to me, and the most lesbian thing about me is that I played rugby.
Oh, that's so gay.
So I was having sex with specifically women on the rugby team, but there was a suspicion about me, but she also dates men. She doesn't say she's a lesbian. I didn't know. I just was having a good time. And so the fact that they were she's not a lesbian, I was like, I respect that. And I certainly don't want to fuck with lesbians. There's also that whole trope about straight girls experimenting and breaking lesbians' hearts. And I was like, I hate to be a problem for the community. So I went back to dating men out of respect for lesbians, which feels very lesbian.
That's gayer than you know.
I respect you so hard. I'm just going to go.
I'm not going to date you or sleep with you ever again. There's so much to unpack in that, which is, I totally understand. First of all, you never want to piss off lesbians.
No.
But it's also this thing of I feel like in this world where everything is so heteronormative, like we were saying, since birth, and for people who may have enjoyed sleeping with men, sleeping with women, the world sort of, if you like both, I think, tends to push you one way that is a lot easier. And I find that so many people growing up, I would get frustrated because it was people would say, no, I love sleeping with men and with women equally. And then they always had a boyfriend, or they would, end up getting married, and more power to them and do what you do. But you also can't not look at that and say, if you had a choice, were you maybe not making the more societally acceptable one?
Right. Well, and I think we're similar in age, but I grew up with, I sort of hate love is love. I don't know how you feel about that, but I hate love is love.
Agree. I actually heard a wonderful gentleman on the, World Wide Web, where we hear everything, say, it isn't the same. We've been told since birth that we're different. And actually, it isn't the same. We've had to fight harder. We've had to be discriminated against. So my love is not like your love. And he even went further to say, I think it's better, and I was clapping in my apartment. I agree. So, yes, no, I don't
Yeah.
think it's love.
We're also culturally different, so there's, like, something in Love Is Love that's sort of like the I don't see color of sexuality that
Ah,
irritates me. It feels Christian, it feels akin to,
yes, yes,
like,
yes.
they can't help it, and also it, like, reduces a life, but specifically a queer life, to love, which feels Christian about it, which is fine if you're Christian, but, like, we can't help who we love, and I'm like, "Well, I'm also talking about fucking, I'm talking about dating, I'm talking about friendship, I'm talking about the clothes I wear even, I'm talking about a whole host of things,
Yeah.
not just, like, who I can't help but love."
Erin, I could not agree more. I think one of the reasons that for a long time, now that I'm a bit older, I'm angrier about certain things, but I've calmed down about other things.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I used to get really riled up about was feeling this pressure because I also identify as a dyke, as lesbian, and this pressure to sort of identify as queer.
Mm.
And while I now very much respect queer and love being a part of the queer community, and I see why that word is so important, for so long I felt like I was meeting people who were defining being queer not by because it is such an expansive term, right? And it does play into what you believe, your politics, how you view the world, how you move through the world, that you're different, your gender, not just your sexuality, all of it. And I love it, I embrace it. But I felt like for so long it was taking away the fucking aspect of the words that and sort of making it all like we're just here being queer and loving whatever. No, I love women
Yeah.
and I love to sleep with women. And
Yeah.
that is a very gay thing. I have known I was gay from the time I can remember anything, and I think taking the fucking out of, uh, queer communities is done purposefully and is, so detrimental and just continues to promote this homophobic and heteronormative narrative.
Yeah, it's also something that, interestingly, straight people are starting to co-opt, which happens a lot, and it's
Oh, yes.
tricky.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's so tricky because our culture is like an open religion and that people join, and a lot of times when people are around, it's because they're on the pipeline, and so I feel really cautious about saying, like, "Don't touch anything," but
Yes.
sometimes it feels like running around with sticky hands and acting like things are silly on, like, my altar.
Totally, totally, and I don't want to be disrespectful of anyone or how they
Mm-mm.
identify because I've been so disrespected over the years, and also everyone should identify exactly how they feel. Um,
Totally.
Queerness is so expansive, and it does mean so many more things than just your sexuality. Um,
But
but
it's not like I have an unconventional job or I have radical politics. It does mean that you are a part of this LGBTQ plus community,
yes,
which has to do also with who we fuck or how we think about fucking. Like that's a part of it.
exactly.
And love, if that's also
Exactly.
the reasons I like lesbian and dyke, I think, are like an internal and external. Lesbian for me is like how I relate inside of my community. I feel like with my partner, I'm a lesbian. It feels like Lesbos. It's the love part. It's the
Oh, I
reverence
love
for women. It's the respect, whatever. And
it.
dyke is more external. Like
Yes, yes, yes.
it's like standing at the perimeter. It's like I'm actually both protecting this and also at odds with everything around me because it all wants to hurt this. You know what I mean?
100%, and they're both such powerful terms, I think, and I think
Mhm.
anytime there's a term that people have been used degradingly or demeaningly, it's so great to, like, co-opt that and take that back. Um, but yeah, it's all really fascinating to me because to the point of, like, who you fuck and who you wanna be intimate with, it's like the world doesn't take female sexuality very seriously in general. So then you put 2 women together. And it's like, well, this is just either for me in a fantasy way where I can insert myself, or it's not real. Which is, I loved so much what you were writing about. First of all, talking about lesbian bed death is not real. It's a straight thing. It's straight.
Yeah.
I like the song,
Thank
and
you.
and also the ways that women have sex and people being like, "But what do you do?" And this defining sex by, a penis.
Right.
So they can figure it out when it comes to gay men because there's a penis involved, but they can't figure it out when there's two women, which is just the most like patriarchal thing ever. And it's like, you don't know what we do? Okay, no, you just want to demean it or you want to insert yourself. And both things get me
It's
very.
also telling on yourself that you have no idea how to please a woman or how you could be pleased if you are one. If it's like, if there's a vulva, what even do you do?
Well, and if you're in if you're a woman in a relationship with a man, I guess you're just like catering to his every need because it all revolves around that. And then you're just like extra, which,
Mhm.
I mean, there are times in sex where nothing has been done to me and I just get off on pleasing someone else. And I think that that is so not the case in so many heterosexual relationships, or seems to be, because if it's all based on a dick getting hard, then
Yeah. And there's no narrative within heteronormativity that women should enjoy it. So if you're not having a good time, that's just kind of normal.
yeah, yeah. You're not well, there's so many jokes about it and there's so much,
Mhm.
sort of around, and I think this thing that, Jen and I talk a lot about on our podcast is this idea of, like, people love to if I'm in a box, then you have to be in a box, and
Mhm.
if I'm doing this thing, the only way that I can enjoy having to do this thing for the rest of my life is if I know that you're sort of miserable doing this thing too, and we relate by, like, keeping each other in the boxes.
Yeah. It also, I think there's both like a sense of belonging there, but I think that women specifically, or people conditioned as women, have a lot of anxiety around getting things right,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, yeah.
particularly because there isn't any way to do it. Like, there's no way to actually be respected as a woman. It's not like if I speak away, if I dress away, if I
Mm,
have the right whatever. We were kind of talking about this before, but we're really like white knuckling. If I get it right, then everything will start to go better for me. And also, I need you to perform the same way that I am so that I can also see echoes if I'm getting it right. If you're
yes.
doing it differently than me, if you're more free than me,
Yes.
I can't be getting it right.
No, I can't.
Um,
Right,
and
yeah.
that's a bummer and boring.
It all to me is so boring. Like this whole sort of cis, white, heteronormative, patriarchal world that we've decided like this is it. I'm like snooze fest.
It's fast.
I want to move to an island, with a
Lesbos
dog. Yeah, Lesbos, which apparently is
is
like
real.
homophobic.
Oh, Lesbos is?
I don't know if this is true, so anyone in Lesbos, don't quote me on this, but I've heard that, being gay in Lesbos is not really the thing. I don't know for sure, but we'll have
I've waved at it. I went to Mykonos and
ah, you're
we
like,
missed our
"There."
stop, so we saw Lesbos.
You missed your stop, of
We
course.
did. I was just sitting on a boat for many more hours than we had intended to. Not in a cool way.
No, in a cool way, it's always
Um, yeah, well, and all of that is so hetero. Even like
right,
the idea that we need to conform is really hetero. It's a very dominant
right.
culture thing, but it's a very hetero thing, and it's meant to like create hierarchy. And this is one of the things that I really love about queer community because there's so much diversity instead of like try getting being gay right. That's silly.
Oh, no. There's there's no.
So many
Plus
ways.
it evolves for the individual over time, like, I'm not the
Mhm.
same gay I was 20 years ago at all, and I imagine you are not either.
Well, I'm interested in how that has presented for you, in terms of your presentation and how that has evolved over time.
Sure, as far as my, physical presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, I guess, I came out in college. I really did always know that I was gay. I have 2 older brothers, 11 and 13 years older than me, and they always had, like, hot high school girls hanging around, and I was like, "Wow, this is great." Like, these girls are fantastic, like, they're so pretty, look at their hair, like, I remember being, like, 6 years old and just sort of spying on my brothers, and I always knew that I was gay, but didn't necessarily have a name for that, and I also grew up in a very religious household, so that was, like, a no-no. I also grew up in a very small town in southwestern Pennsylvania. I wasn't seeing gay people. I wasn't hearing about gay lives, so I went off to school and, I think I didn't come out until to my friends until, like, my sophomore year in school, in
Mhm.
college, and, I didn't come out to my parents, and to my immediate family, and I have a lot my father is, Syrian and Lebanese, so on my father's side of the family, I have a ton of cousins, like and my 3rd cousins are as close as my 1st cousins, and we're all big family, loud, dancing, all of it, lots of food. So there were a lot of people to sort of come out to. And I didn't come out to my immediate family until, like, I was 23 or something like that. I had already been living in New York in the city. And it didn't go well, to say the least. Um, and it's really taken like 20 years to get to a place with my parents where I can even speak about myself really
Mm.
openly. And even that is strained from time to time. Um, And so I think that really dictated, like it did for a lot of aspects of my life, including um, my life as an artist. My life is just how I walk through the world as a human. But certainly as a lesbian, I wanted to make everybody else like really comfortable with me being gay. So I was a lot more feminine presenting, I guess you would say.
Mhm.
Um, and it wasn't that I didn't enjoy that. I felt very comfortable in that, in a lot of ways, and I also felt like it was some sort of, like, pushback, like, well, what's more gay than, like, 2 because I'm also attracted to, or have been historically, very
Mhm.
feminine women. So I thought, "Okay, well, like, what's more gay than 2 chicks together?" You know? Like,
Yeah.
fuck everyone. There's no roles, and nobody's masculine, and nobody's feminine, and it's just, like, 2 super feminine women, like, fucking and loving each other, like, that seems like aces to me. So but I also, in time, I think there was a lot with that where, um, I'd get very angry because men would often insert themselves, I'd be out with a girlfriend or someone I was seeing and try to insert themselves into the equation, and I think my maybe response to all of that, um, was to then become a little bit more masculine presenting.
Mhm.
And at the same time, as I got older, realizing that my gender doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I have a lot of trans friends, and so um, I am not trans. However, uh, I don't feel like a woman, and I'm not sure what of that is me feeling like I had to be more masculine in order to get what I wanted in life
Mhm.
and actually the way that I feel. And the only way that I've really been able to express that fully is in, relationships,
Mhm.
sexually and with intimacy is the only way that I've been able to, like, be fully myself.
Mhm.
So now I kind of, in the world, just sort of do my best to some days I feel more feminine, some days I feel more masculine and allow myself to have both.
Mhm.
And Jen said to me on our podcast, like, that she's noticed that when I feel safe, uh, uh, femininity tends to come out in me more. And I do think that that's true. Um, so I'm just trying to let myself be a canvas for kind of how I feel in that moment.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think with women's bodies, you know, uh, male bodies, I think, have less put upon them at birth. And I think female bodies have so much put upon them. So sometimes when I see like a man like, with big muscles wearing a dress and like beautiful long earrings, I'm like, and painted nails and but that's how I feel inside. And then
Mhm.
by a mirror and I'm like, okay, nope, that's not quite right. That's not what's happening. That's not what anyone else sees, but that's how I feel. And I
Yeah.
love that for male bodies, I think that they get to have more of a blank canvas because less has been put upon them. Whereas, like, when I wear earrings and paint my nails, depending on I just look like a weird boy or, like
Like you're cosplaying?
yeah, I'm cosplaying or, like, did she, like, forget to get off at the prom, and, like, what is she wearing? And
Yeah.
it's like, it doesn't feel the same as it when I see it on other people. That's how I feel inside, and
Mhm.
sometimes not being able to embody that feels tricky.
Mhm.
So I just sort of kinda go with it day to day, I guess.
Mhm. Do you feel like, having shifted to a more frequent, more masculine presentation, do you feel like that took anything from you in the way that you're kind of explaining this? Like it took access from a more feminine part of you?
Um, well, that's interesting because at first when you asked the question, I was thinking like, sometimes people are less nice to me out in the world, which
Mhm.
I find is like the first thing that came to me when you said that.
Mhm.
But, as far as what it took from me, yeah, it's I don't know, Erin, it's so nuanced and it's so complicated. And again, I feel like I'm only really able to articulate this not in words, but in physicality.
Sure.
And that's why, um, I get emotional sometimes when I think about it. That's why, like, it is so important to me to like define these terms of like, no, I love women because I love to sleep with women, and I also respect them, and you know, the ones who I've loved are, I think are cool and amazing humans. But I think it's something that I can only like put my finger on, haha, when physical, right, with
Yeah.
someone else, and I can't really, I don't know, define it outside of
Mhm.
that.
It's one of my favorite things about like lesbian slash dyke community is that there is, it feels like more access for most of us to what feels like femininity when we're together. And so there's
Oh,
something that because of the safety,
yes, yes, yes.
and because it's not presenting in a hierarchy,
Yeah,
because I think within that community, like femmes are not thought of as weak or
yeah,
less than or less
yeah,
smart. Oftentimes there's like a big reverence or thought of as being some of the
yeah,
strong ones. You know what I mean? Like it's
completely,
not the
complete
way
no,
straight people do it.
no,
Um,
it is the opposite, really.
and so
Yeah.
there's something that like my whole body melts when I see, whether they're trans or a more masc presenting person, whatever, just like a more masculine AFAB person do something really femme around
Yes,
me because I
yes.
feel like, was I in the safe place for you to just do that
Look
little,
at you go.
little,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You felt held. Yes. No. I think you're right. I really think you're right because I think I find myself or have found myself in relationships. Um, I think I also feel this need when I am with a woman, dating a woman,
Mhm,
to protect her. That's just my nature. That's just how I am. That's just like what I saw growing up.
mhm,
Um, and so that I think keeps me on guard, right? And less in my femininity. And also, really just like my spidey sense is always on. So
mhm.
less relaxation, less being able to be sort of silly or playful, um, because of this need to want to protect and also be like, don't, like this is not yours to tamper with.
Yeah.
And there is a stress in that, right? So I think to your point, when you're around a group of lesbians, you can really just be fully yourself, which is like the most beautiful thing.
Yeah. I also feel like I feel deeply misread all the time outside of that.
Tell me more.
Well, I feel like I've always been really dykey, and I don't know how to separate like who I am and what I also feel like really deeply rooted in like lesbian history and culture. Like I just understand myself in that context. But prior to understanding myself in that context, like when I dated men, I my presence was emasculating. The way that I'm physical
Wow,
is
wow,
emasculating, and it's
wow,
not.
wow.
I'm not like dominant necessarily. My partner and I are both super switchy. It's like really fun. It's like a constant fight about who's in charge. That's like
Yeah.
fun and not actual tension. But wanting to be equal is really upsetting. I also think sometimes that the thing that seems to upset men the most about my presence, because easily emasculated men just like can't stand me being around, even if I'm not talking to them. One of the things I've identified is that I think because I listen to them, and it's confusing because I think most people are just like ready to nod along with a man who's supposed to be in charge and supposed to be the authority, and I'm considering him. I'm
Wow.
like, "No, I'm just listening."
No, I'm listening. I'm listening to you. I want nothing out of this exchange, but you're talking, so I'm going to listen, and
Yeah,
here we go. Yeah, well, I also think, and maybe I don't know if you feel this way, but when you also have, like, comments back or questions to what they
yeah.
s or an opinion on what they've stated, I feel like does that blow their minds in a way?
I'm like, I'm considering what you're saying, and then I may have a follow-up question or whatever, but I think that there's just even a physical deference that's like,
Yeah,
"Yes, of course, mhm," and I don't have that. I've never had I'm very,
not at
uh
all.
no, and I
Thank
rest my
God.
face. I don't I once, quit a job because I was asked to, raise my voice an octave and smile bigger. I had several women I was working at a salon because 'cause I've been a writer for a long time, so you always need, like, a side hustle when you're an artist or at
Yeah,
least to
yeah,
tell,
yeah.
right? And I had several women complain about me that went to the salon, but they didn't have their complaints were that I didn't seem overly friendly, which is wild because I worked super part-time. I was working with, like, gay friends that I loved. I was in a great mood. I didn't have to work that much, and I was away from my baby, so I was not stressed. So me in a great mood, complimenting people on their hair still didn't seem, like,
Overly
docile
friendly.
enough, you know?
Wow.
One person specifically wrote in Google reviews that I offered them coffee, tea, or water, but it didn't seem overly friendly.
The hoops that women have to jump through just to exist on the planet, I mean, the level of ridiculousness. Also, you would think you would be being reviewed for the way you did your job or, the level of professionalism that you had. So was this told to you by a woman that you should raise your
Yes.
voice an octave? That's
Yeah,
good.
and I felt like I got hit in the face, and then I had, like, one of those, God, universe, gut hit, whatever moments where I was like, "Oh, this isn't your lesson, it's hers." And so I was like, "Oh, I'm not
Good for
going to
you.
do that, and also you shouldn't, and it's why you're exhausted." And I quit, and she dumped her boyfriend and moved.
So it was a win-win for everyone then.
Everyone won. Yeah,
Yes.
so, like,
You're doing God's
externally
work, Erin. You really are.
in straight culture, I'm read as, like, mean or just like very not friendly. And I have one friend that's asked about me all the time. And she always says, "Well, did you talk to her?" And the answer is always no. Because if I'm just like minding my business, I rest my face, which is part of, I think, why I'm aging well. And
I need to rest my face more. How do I
I'm not just sitting around like hoping everyone feels welcomed
and
by my
comfortable
existence.
by your presence and that you're making everyone feel comfortable. Well, good for you because I do think, for so many years, I really tried to make everyone feel comfortable, and I was very good at shape shifting, uh,
Mhm,
because I think that's, like, what we're told we have to do. But the
mhm.
fact that you're able to, like, sit back, be fully yourself, and be fully present, and that people have a read on that. Because if you were a man, everyone would just say, "Oh, what a cool guy." You
Yeah,
know? Like,
there's nothing to report on. Men
nothing to
just have
report on.
faces. There's no resting bitch face for men.
No, there's nothing. All of these terms that we put on women and that then women put on other women, it's all so exhausting and again, insanely boring. So I'm sure if I saw you at a party, I'd be like, "Who's that cool person?"
Yeah. Well, the best part about it is that the people who walk through it, and usually lesbians, are very cool people. And people who are intimidated by it are not people that I would want to know, honestly.
Yeah.
Like get figure that out and then come introduce yourself.
I'm so again, I'll use this word. I'm so bored by straight culture, I gotta say. Like, I feel like I can't even watch TV anymore. I can't go to the movies. I do scroll sometimes to my own detriment, but I'm just like, are we still doing this? Is this still the thing that we're all doing? The world is on fire. And this is the sort of thing that we're going about acting like works and is, like, exciting. I don't care. I don't care. So many of you posted a video the other day that made me laugh out loud. The "We don't care,"
Yeah.
uh, video. We don't.
About men not wanting me.
Yeah, we don't care. No. You're like, I'm not sitting up at night thinking about it." Turns out Erin
No.
doesn't care.
In
Yeah.
fact, it's really upsetting that that is, I think, I feel like I've done a lot of study of this, just
Yes.
like being alive.
Yeah.
I think that when men meet women, they immediately decide whether or not they would sleep with them. But the next question is more important. If I would sleep with her, would I tell my friends about it?
Oh.
Because I feel like I think I'm lovely. This is not like a conversation about like my confidence or if I'm beautiful or whatever, but like um beauty standards, especially the ones that we grew up on, are just so narrow. And I've never been like super thin, for example. And so like I've always fallen outside of the trophy person, so I've often been someone that men want to sleep with because attraction doesn't actually have anything to do with what your buddies think, but wouldn't want to tell their friends. And that's a very specific treatment that sucks.
Ooh, my friend, I don't like any of that. I don't like any of the words that you just said. I wanna throw something. But I imagine that as that being your experience, like, you're also very calm and cool and collected when saying these things, and I, again, am like, "I wanna throw something," and it's not even happening to me, but I'm sorry that that has been your experience, and, yeah, this whole idea that men, wanting to sleep with you, is the prize, and also this whole idea that, gay women, especially if you're someone who realizes you're gay, maybe not super early on in life, that gay women, oh, they just got fed up with men. No, it's actually not the case. Like for me, I never even saw men. Honestly, if we woke up tomorrow and men disappeared, I would be like, "What's different?" Like it would take me so long to figure it out. Um, Because it was never a, "Oh, I don't like this thing." It was just like, "Have you seen and spoken to and been around this other thing? Like, how remarkable." So it's a long-winded way of saying, I'm sorry about all that, and I just love your composure around all of it.
You. But I think that the initial part that just pisses me off is the beginning where you make the assessment at all. Because we've been talking for all this time. I think you're absolutely fantastic. And I have not at any point assessed whether or not we would do that. You know what I mean? Like, this is just not
Well
the lens through which I talk to people, even people who would like potentially fall into my attraction to. Like, I just don't meet people and reduce them to that.
Well, that's rude, Aaron, first of all. But, yeah, no, because it's not normal. It's not the thing to do. It's like, how about meeting a human being and connecting and having
Yeah.
a conversation and getting to know them, and not this feeling of like for my friends who, um, are gorgeous, gorgeous humans on the outside, straight, gay, everything in between. The way that I have seen them have to navigate men and do this dance and tiptoe around, uh, is so exhausting, and it prevents women from being able to do the shit that they really wanna do. There's
Yeah.
so much navigating and moving around based on somebody else's opinion, and that somebody else, who we were speaking about this earlier, has had, for the most part, and obviously not all men, but has had the red carpet rolled out for them with everything they want in life, so they believe that everything is for the taking.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just like, imagine how much more time one would have in their day if they weren't constantly navigating that.
Yeah. Also, switching gears, the way that we do that is so much more fun and interesting. I was talking to my friend. Do you know who Whitney Miller is? Her handle's
No,
BDE Moves. She's a lesbian sex coach. She's fantastic.
no, I'll
Uh,
totally
sh-
check her out.
she's Southern. The first time I met her online, I was like, "What is your accent?" And she said, "I think she's from Tennessee," but she said, "I sound slow. I'm not."
That's amazing.
Stop it.
That's amazing.
But, she talks to a lot of people who are maybe dating women for the first time or are just like, we tend to be more anxious because we respect the people we date, and so it's not just like a bulldoze.
What a concept. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Like, am I
eh,
pleasing them? Yeah.
Yeah, are they interested in me? Am I getting any sort of verbal or
Yeah,
nonverbal cues about that? But
confirmation.
she said a way to see if a woman is interested in you, which like really did it for me to think about, was
Mm.
to place your hands on the table and
Oh,
see if she looks at them and her lips part.
wow. Okay. What if her lips are already parted?
I don't but more? I don't know. But like does she have a physical reaction to seeing your hands? Which is so lesbian.
Wow. I'm not gonna be able to get this out of my mind.
I know.
Talk about taking up a lot of my time. I'm gonna just be doing this all day.
Well,
Okay.
and that's so, like, actually sexy, and that's
That's very
so
busy, yeah.
not reducing someone to, like, places you could get access to. It's like, even, like, when I think about when I have, like, discovered that I'm attracted to somebody, because that's not just like that's really vibes oriented for me.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
usually because, like, our pinkies touched. You know what I mean? Like, something just the tiniest thing, and you're like,
And you felt that
"Oh."
like, "Oh, yep, there's that." Yeah. Or the thing yeah, and I think the discovery of all that is so fun, and when it's unexpected, it's super fun, and yeah, I think flirting, with women is so I mean, I think women are the coolest for the most part, and, highly intelligent and emotionally intelligent, so capable of, like, many things at one time and picking up on things that, others may not. So, yeah, I don't know, I think flirting and dating and that's why, like, so all of this feels rigged, right? Like, we're all like, what are we all doing? I don't know. We're all like supposed to go along with this plan and whatever. And women are sold a bill of lies. And that's like, and then that's not even factoring in like the color of your skin or your socioeconomic background. And we're all going along with this just like agenda that somebody created that's like not for us. And I'm mad for women of the world, like my friends who are straight who are, were sold this bill of lies. But I will say that like I feel like being on the outside my whole life and being like, "Oh no, this is ridiculous." There is something about even though all of this is insane, so remarkable about navigating that insanity with another human who is a woman. And
Yeah.
and I
Jackpot.
feel jackpot, like, whether I believe in, like I used to think I wanted to get married. Now I definitely do not wanna get married. Like, things have changed for me. Like, I there are certain things I know, certain things I thought I knew, and I think some of that was conforming to sort of heteronormativity.
Sure.
And now I see, like, the things that I know that I want, that I know that I don't want, but ultimately, none of this insanity really does apply to gay women. Like, I really think we have this little piece of heaven that, maybe it was harder for us. Maybe my family didn't accept me. I got in my own way for a lot of years because of not accepting myself, blah, blah, blah. But I really feel like I hit the jackpot.
100%. It's a weird thing about, being alive right now.
Ooh,
That's that's overarching, is
I,
that, like,
oh,
being gay inside of that, like, my micro life is great, you
yes,
know? And then,
yes.
like, everything that's going on
Can't
externally is
imagine
terrible.
not being gay, like, inside of
No.
the horrors that are going on in this country, in the world, not having, like, that community and that sense of self and that otherness, that something so profoundly wonderful about that, yeah, I cannot imagine.
And, like, our living elders have seen worse for our
Mhm.
community, you
Yeah,
know? And so
yeah.
there's something about that that is like, I don't know, I feel and this is gonna be dicey, so we'll see. We'll just see how this comes out of my mouth if I like
Editing
it.
room floor, maybe? Let's see. I'm
But,
ready.
like, for specifically white hetero women and or people who are culturally that, I think that the Trump election cycles have been really watershed moments in terms of, like, these systems are not improving and don't serve me in a way that they haven't been for anyone else, white men too, but I think that women are, like, paying
Yeah,
more attention as a whole.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um is like the first time that it was like, oh, this is not, this system does not uphold me. This is not getting better. This is not, we're not girl bossing our way into a new future. Like this is rigged and it's bad and it's going to impact me. Whereas
Yeah.
like those of us who have been in marginalized communities and knew it, I feel like hetero white women have been in the last couple of decades sort of sold that they're doing well, better than they are.
I 100%. I mean, the fact that hetero white women are calling themselves girl bosses or girl anything is a
Yeah.
clear indicator that things weren't going well. You know, I
Yeah.
think if we're reducing ourselves to girl, because I say this a lot, I'm like, show me one boy boss, show
No
me
boy
one
boss.
boss, and then I'll let you keep that term. But I think you're right. I think it illuminated things that were, mm, I feel like they were giving cis straight white women like little dangling carrots to make them
Yeah.
feel like there was some sort of progress happening, and that in and of itself is problematic because then a lot of cis straight white women cling to power, which is the white male power, and then are in a position of power and then hold all of that over. That's why, white feminism, I don't think works, right? It's like
Right.
it doesn't work. I mean, it's not I don't think it doesn't work.
Mhm.
We're getting it wrong. We're getting it
Yeah.
wrong. And so I think that like it did illuminate those things, but in the same vein, I feel like lesbians have known this stuff that straight women are sort of like discovering now,
Mhm.
which is sort of funny, like this idea of, decentering men, but then and also, like, wanting to go off on, like, compounds and live with all their female friends. I'm like, "Listen, this is not gonna work for me because I am gay, and I'm not gonna just live with a bunch of women." But there's also something where it's, like, sweet that they're discovering this, but also
They've
feel a little
discovered
homophobic.
yes, they've discovered lesbian separatism and decentering. I also, every time I see these like New York Times articles that are like women have discovered that relationships with women are really important. I'm like, but have you heard of lesbians?
I'm like, I okay, so, like, I get it, right? I get that sexuality is a thing, but have you tried sleeping with women? Because 'Cause I'm gonna tell you, it's good, and I guarantee you're gonna love it. So, this whole decentering men that, like, straight women are doing, but then they're like, "So, I just sleep with them." I'm like, "Well, first of all, that's all they want anyway, so I think men are still winning."
Yeah.
But also this really ingrained thing, and you've touched on this in so many of your posts about women, not really taught to love our own bodies.
Mhm.
So being then grossed out by the idea of, I mean, I cannot even count the number of times, Erin, I've had people say to me, uh, oh, like I would make out with a girl, but I would never go down on her. Why?
Right.
Like, w- why? Like, what are you even
Right.
talking about? Because the this the female body has been so looked at as beautiful and objectified forever and ever and ever on men. And then you're telling me that you can't do that? We've been objectifying it. It's fascinating to me, and that the male body is revered as something that is like sort of not objectified and in and of itself, and has been sort of sold to women as the ideal thing that they're going to love. And I think this is all by design. It's like get women hating their own bodies and that
Mhm.
themselves and not loving themselves and not feeling sexual within themselves, then of course they can't have that with another female. They're gonna keep clinging to men for that. When listen, I get it, you're into who you're into, but I always say, like, if I woke up tomorrow it's not gonna happen, so bad example, but if I woke up tomorrow and I fell for some guy, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, but keep his dick away from me." It's like,
Right.
what is this idea that you can't love another human?
Yeah.
These sort I just it's all so yeah, no,
I definitely went through a phase where I was like, I can't with penises. And in part because like I was taught my whole life that this was going to be the center of everything. And so I just kind of
mm,
needed to reject what I was handed. And then I
mm,
started to hear myself and I'm like, you don't really think body parts are gross. So stop doing that. That's not also like it's transphobic. There's a lot of things wrapped up in it, but it's like
mm,
it feels baseline immature to hear like vaginas, ick. And the other thing that I think is more telling and a little bit more of a scathing review of hetero heteronormative sex, people have all kinds of sex, but heteronormative sex, is that I think what a lot of women are really saying isn't I'm grossed out by vaginas, but rather when people have gone down on me, I have felt grossed out by that experience. And
Mm.
so I can't imagine wanting to do that to someone else.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Yeah. And
Because things I've experienced as a good time, I immediately want to do to someone else.
oh, yeah. 100%. Agree.
Ugh, that was
Agree,
great. Turn
agree,
around. It's my turn.
agree. And it's your turn now. Yeah, I also think, like, to your point of saying the thing about, like, rejecting, like, penises for I also think that is a direct response to, like you said, that being sort of pushed upon you.
Yeah.
And I also have gotten angry about that. Like, you're telling me dick pics are being sent around and everyone's like, ooh and ah over them, but you see a vagina and you can't? Like, none of that makes any sense to me. And so I think this idea that men are the standard of like, this like what is to have and this bill of goods that's been sold to keep women in line, keep them from not having power, from not having pleasure, from not knowing themselves. It all is so related. And the fact that we can't see that is what's frustrating to me. So I think I also have been like, penis disgusting because it's been so oppressive.
It's just always in your face. And so it's more like penis out of my face, please. And also fine over there. Fine
That
over
would be,
there. It's like an
oh,
elbow when I see one, it feels medical,
yeah.
you know?
The funny bone. That's what I think
Yeah,
of when I see a penis. I think of the
whatever.
funny bone. But yeah, no, I yeah, I do, and I've, like, leaned in now in my, older age to, like, my angry lesbianism because I think I shied away from that before, but I think there's a lot to be angry about, and I think people in general, if we're not angry about
Mhm.
the world around us right now, then we're not paying attention, and that's also, like, a level of privilege that it's like, "Oh, we're just gonna hide under a rock," but none of this is like I said before, none of this is working, and it is all by design. And, yeah, no, I don't understand. Again, it's like thou doth protest too much. Like, "Oh, I would date a woman, but I could never oh, sleeping with her." It's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
It's also weird that immediately upon speaking to me, you're thinking about eating pussy. Like, isn't that pretty gay of you?
Pretty gay of you. So many
Pretty
times
gay.
I've encountered women, straight women who have to tell me immediately that they slept with a woman once. I'm like, "Congratulations."
Oh my God. My worst experience of this was I went to this thing. I'm trying to figure out how I can tell the story that doesn't feel like it's too pointed. But it was like a friend of mine was trying to start a group that would benefit women. We were going to come together and do this thing together. Okay.
Okay,
Like a
okay,
community group. And she brought people that she knew together.
sure.
And a woman came into the room who was a woman of color, and it was mostly white women. And she was like, "This, we can't do it this way. We need more women of color in the room." Valid. And then she was like, "Does anyone know anyone in a wheelchair?" And we were like, "Well, it's getting weird." And then she goes, "Are any of you even gay?" My friends looked at me because they were like, "Well, we're not gonna out you. Are you doing that?" You know what I mean? Like, well,
Wow.
yes, but like you sort of have to say it. And then this other woman goes, "In college," and this woman goes, "Doesn't count." And I was like, "This is the weirdest DEI. This is a sketch."
Oh god, that is like I feel like that's like yes, that is 100% a sketch. There's, again, so much to unpack in that one.
I was like, "Would you like to see my resume?"
My card, when I went to, like I was a kid and I was in Rome with a friend of mine, and there were, like, all these, like you had to get a pass. It was called, like, an Archie gay pass, or it's probably not how it was pronounced, but that's what we were calling it,
Uh-huh.
to go to, like, the gay clubs. Now, of course, it was all men at the gay clubs,
Sure.
but, you had to get, like, a pass to, like, prove that you were gay and you wanted to go to the club. So, that's what you need, Erin.
We bring that back.
Emanate it, though. Don't forget.
Question question. Do you feel that you are leaning into angry lesbian because of perimenopause? And if so, say more about that.
Okay, I have a lot I feel like I have a lot to say about that.
Great.
first of all, being someone who doesn't feel particularly female,
Mhm,
the perimenopause of it all is a bit of a it's like a hot button issue for me. It brings
mhm,
up a lot, and while I cannot deny that I'm experiencing life in a female body and my hormones
mhm,
will change and that will happen, um, I don't know that I've fully accepted that yet, and
mm,
I'm a little afraid because part of what feels tolerable with having gender identity is that I do feel a bit androgynous in my body.
mhm,
So if that changes, I think it might be a little difficult for me.
mhm.
So I think I haven't even allowed myself to go down the menopausal route.
Okay.
That being said, I also dated someone for many years who was highly into the menopause space. Um,
It's
and
niche.
it's niche. It's neat, I gotta say, and Jen and I were talking about, I keep referring to Jen, Jennifer Esposito,
Mm,
my partner in crime. We have a podcast together called Rebellious: Art, Culture, Human, and we were just talking about this, how Jen was saying all of these things um, are sold and done, and there's these billion-dollar industries made on the backs of women's insecurities. And
mhm,
they did it with women, with diet culture when we were all growing up, and now they're doing it again with perimenopause and menopause. And you need this supplement, and you need this cream, and you need this da 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 da. Which most of these things don't work for that, but they're selling you this idea, and most women can't afford any of this stuff.
mhm.
So. Um, I'd say more than me leaning into my angry lesbian because of perimenopause, I would say that perimenopause makes me more of an angry lesbian.
Okay.
Is that saying the same thing backwards?
No, it makes sense to me. Let me these are funny words. Let me pitch it to you.
Yeah, pitch it to me. Pitch it to me.
So, my perimenopause, which I feel like a lot of people don't know, is like the 10 years running up to menopause, and it can start as early as 35. So it's like it's up to 10 years and or longer, and there's like 121 documented symptoms. I have a lot of them. It was
Okay.
started off though as rage. And a lot of people were like, "Well, it makes sense that you'd be mad." And I'm like, "No, I've been mad a long time. I know how to be mad." Actually, there's weirdly a video of me on YouTube being like, "I just discovered my anger because I was mad somebody like harmed my sister." Anyway,
Mm.
so like I know mad.
Yeah.
But it was not related to anything, and it was I would wake up with it and it was super physical. You know what I mean? And the
Mhm.
way that I was describing it is like when you take too long to eat and you know that like I need to sit down and eat, but that's also not going to fix it for a minute.
Okay.
Like that
Yeah.
sort of space, but just rage. Like I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I finally was able to get into a specialist and find like through the grapevine actually from another dyke um who to go to that actually addresses this. And
Mhm.
it's the kind of thing that you don't take tests for. You medicate based on symptoms the way that you would anxiety or depression and then tweak.
Wow.
So instead of being on the same sort of hormone roller coaster that men are never on and that AFAB people have at puberty, I now am dosing my hormones and I am so even keel. But I also am not taking estrogen, which is the hormone that like causes the amount of like biological empathy we experience. And so I have lower estrogen than I've ever had. And I've never felt like, it feels like there used to be a buffer between what I say and what I mean that I think of as polite or what a woman, and it's gone. I like am direct from what I feel to saying out loud immediately in the moment, and it's beautiful.
Isn't that
And the
like
things
so refreshing for you?
Yes, and the things that weren't going well, I'm able to balance and shift the dose in, and the main people that I talk to about, hormone replacement and how we're navigating it, and I feel a little bit too much of this, so I'm pulling back here, are trans men. I talk a lot to my trans men friends about
Oh,
how we're navigating our hormones. And so it's like it's an art and
yeah.
it also gives you the opportunity to decide how you want to feel in your body and how you want to feel with your hormones in a way that doesn't necessarily have to be feminine.
You 100% pitched that well because now I'm feeling some hope, and now
Yeah.
I'm feeling yeah, no, that gives me hope, that makes me feel really good and really I'm
Mhm.
so hot. Maybe it's menopause. Maybe it's Maybelline. Yeah, no, you really pitched that well because that makes me feel like it is in my hands a little bit more than this sort of,
Mhm.
like, flailing idea of what could happen to me, and talking to your trans friends makes so much sense, and finding a doctor who, like, listens and gets it and is willing to go on that journey. Because I think doctors are hard in general, and especially for gay women,
Mhm.
oh, but women in general. I think they didn't study I always say this, but on the female body until, like, 1993.
No. No, and when I was ragey, I cried about this at least once a day. I still have, like, rage, but it feels like, "Oh, that happened and now I'm mad," instead of, like, I woke up physically unable to tend to myself.
Yeah. Just
That's
filled with rage.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
But there's something like 90% of medical research that is designated for AFAB people is just for pregnancy and birth. So about getting us pregnant and keeping us pregnant. And I have a kid, I care about that. But like, not all of us will choose to do that. All of us will, if we live long enough, go through this hormonal shift.
Yeah.
The other thing is a lot of my friends who are like mask women or even non-binary, then will choose to like play with testosterone, and then their gym results are different, and they can be a little bit
Ooh,
boxier, and
that's
so
exciting to me. All of this is exciting. I do think it is very telling too that when women get to this, like, point where they really are fed up with all of it and their bodies are kinda catching up. Because since birth, we've been made to, like, placate and, like, "Is everybody good? And is everybody" and we're doing a million things at once for other people, and now, in perimenopause and menopause, I think women are really, like, kind of waking up and discovering who they are and, like, hearing their own voice and what they want, and so, of course, in the, like, cis hetero world, they wanna squash that so that women, again, like, stay at home, don't that's also something interesting is that, like, a lot of, women in menopause have been straight women getting divorced, and realizing, like, "Hey, I don't wanna put up with this. I don't wanna be, doing everything all the time." For everyone else, like, what about me? Um, I think it's a really beautiful time, and if we just, like, allowed women to, like, finally get to be grounded in who they are.
yeah. So there's a bit of a if you get a good doctor, there's a bit of an Alice in Wonderland quality to it, and that you can be
Yeah.
like a little more blue, a little more red would be like ideal for how I feel in the world.
I love this, you've given me so much hope, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Can I ask you some lightning round questions?
Oh, sure, yes. Go ahead.
Uh, I went with none of my questions, but this was such a good conversation. What's your favorite part of being a lesbian?
Sleeping with women.
That's great. It is almost always sex or community. And I am waiting for the person that says sex in community because I have a lot of friends that do that as well.
Oh, sex in community?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
people that really just do it all together.
Yes, I
Community
love that.
sex.
Yeah, community sex, uh-huh. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, so I'd have to have everyone, like, have hand sanitizer at the door or something, but
Sure.
yeah. Sure.
What's your favorite queer coded fictional character? And specifically to you, I guess I want to know about lesbians.
Oh, queer, fictional character?
Or queer coded. So like people like Angelina Jolie and everything, but
Oh,
you
sure,
know.
sure, 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 sure. Yes, okay. So, I don't know if this is accurate, but it feels perhaps that your
Mhm.
theme song is like an homage to the L Word theme song, am I correct?
So I actually found the person who did that on Fiverr. It was the only woman that did theme songs, and she's straight, I believe, but that is
Oh.
immediately what I heard when she sent it to me. I'm like, there's something it's like there's something just a little bit off in the
Yeah.
harmony
Yes,
that was also in the L
it's
Word
like
theme
the
song.
yeah, 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 I thought it would be, like, into the loving, laughing, fighting,
Yeah.
breathing
Yeah.
song.
No, I
Mm,
hear it. I
mm.
love it.
So, I guess I would say as we've come so many years from that show,
Mhm.
I really just wanna give a shout out to all of those characters on the L Word because I don't feel like there has been a show for lesbians since the L Word, and I think even the new revamped L Word, it's not the same in my opinion. So I would love to see that like old L Word done now, because I think all of those characters, I saw myself in them. I saw women I dated in them. I saw women I wanted to date in them. So I would say all of them.
Mm. Were you watching the L Word as it came out and you were out?
I was out, but I
Uh-huh.
wasn't watching the L Word when it was, out. For some
Okay.
reason, I was just like I was fighting, fucking, loving, breathing, hiding,
You
you
were
know?
living it.
I was living it. I was the L wording it.
Yeah.
And so then years later, I watch it, and now I think I mean, I haven't done this in many moons, but I feel like there were, like, 6 seasons or something. I think I've seen all 6 seasons, like, 12 times. So I would say all of those characters, and then, of course, like, Kate Blanchett is, like, everyone's favorite lesbian, so, you know?
Sometimes I Google a picture of her and her husband just to be like, snap out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like putting cold water on your face. It's like, it doesn't
Funny.
feel good.
So funny. It's also so funny how we as lesbians pick these women who don't identify as being queer as, like, everything. I'm like,
Mm.
"Please, just, like, love yourself." I don't know.
Well, we also have really cool
We
lesbians,
do.
like that there's more. I've listened on your podcast, you were talking about Ellen and Rosie, and I'm in the same timeline. I feel so bad for Ellen because everybody's like, I wasn't an Ellen. And I'm like, oh, poor Ellen really had to be everybody.
I really it's so and I mean, Rosie and Ellen, like, they and especially I'm such a Rosie O'Donnell fan,
Mm.
like, in all the ways, and I think that, they really did so much heavy lifting, and there's so
Yeah.
much good that they did, and then, like, I was just listening to, like, Tracy Chapman and just all of these women who are, like, so strong and probably didn't wanna have to always be tough, but were from the get-go. And I will say this that I didn't say, on the pod, but I was telling Jen about this the other day. There were these women who were more, masculine presenting, and so I wasn't attracted to them. So I was
Right.
thinking, "Oh god, like, these women are out, there's only a few of them, and I'm not attracted to them, what I'm seeing in pop culture." And it wasn't until I will always have, like, props, hands up to, Portia de Rossi because she came out, um super femme, super proud to be gay, and I remember seeing her and being like, "Oh, thank God. Okay, there's one. Like, they're out there, she's out there, this is a life I can have, like, there are women who are" and now, I mean, I'm really dating myself, but, like, now, there are women who are gorgeous in all the ways, masc, femme, whatever, but we didn't really have that.
We didn't. And the people that we did have, we were kind of gaslit about, like Queen
Oh, yeah.
Latifah from day one. And I'm not saying Queen Latifah owed us anything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it wasn't a safe time. Like there's all sorts of reasons why people
totally,
weren't out, but we knew
totally,
what we were looking at. You
totally,
know?
totally, yeah.
And there's been a lot of women that really, it's really affirming to me to be like, I was really specifically into her in a like respectful way.
Yeah.
And then it turns out she's gay. And I'm like, of course, of course. Like the gaydar is the one that really gets me. It's really specific. Did you watch Saved by the Bell?
Yes.
So Tori, who wore the leather jacket,
Oh, yes.
she's
It
a lesbian.
of course she is. She was in that leather jacket.
She was wearing leather.
Come on. Come on.
But,
Save
like, I knew I was just going to make content about, like, how I wasn't a lesbian, I was just really into strong women, and she was one of the ones that came to mind, and I was like, "She is a lesbian. Of
Oh, that's
course she's a
so I'm not a
lesbian."
lesbian, I'm just into strong women.
And I
Throw it
deeply
down.
respect them.
That is amazing. Of course, I'm gonna have to Google her when we hang up. I
It's
gotta
really
see.
exciting.
Still sporting that leather jacket, I bet.
I bet. Yeah, I was really into her, and always those people, and I still feel that way now. I have, like the way that my internalized homophobia shows up is in feeling like I'm looking at something that is lesbian and then immediately, like, correcting myself that I shouldn't be thinking that unless they're telling me that. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Oh,
rude of me to see someone
that
as a lesbian.
oh, Erin, that's so kind of you. I don't feel that way. Especially in my own head.
Yeah.
I
Well,
let
I've been,
myself
like, chastised for that. Like, I
I
just
get
want
that.
everything to be gay, and so I, like, have this, like, shock treatment that happens.
And I would pitch
Okay.
if it's everything gay. That's I would pitch.
I like that.
But you actually I respect what you're saying. I should try to be a bit more like that maybe.
I don't know that I should. It feels homophobic to me. It feels like the people who have gotten because when I'm thinking something is lesbian, including, like, something my straight friends are doing, I mean it entirely complimentary. It's the highest compliment I can give you.
Of
If that
course.
seems lesbian to me, I'm like, "Yes."
Yes, and
Yeah.
more power to them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, what is something that you wish you could tell your younger self that you know now?
Oh my. I would tell my younger self, "Don't worry about the ladies right now.
Mm,
Go off and create art and do what you wanna do, and put yourself first and love yourself and learn to love yourself wholly and solely on your own, and, then all the rest of it will come."
that's so good. I want so many people to do that. We put so much pressure on romantic relationships for people that don't have their brains fully formed, and it's like, that's fun to play with, but it doesn't need to be the focus of your life.
No, and I really think about that a lot, like, you know, we talk about on our podcast who who would you have been, if the world hadn't told you who to become?
Mhm,
And, what I said to Jen was, "What's so sad?" It's like, we'll never really know. Like, Cat right out of the box, I think would have been on a whole different trajectory. Even the way I present would
mhm.
be different now. I certainly would be covered in tattoos, I know that. Now I
Do
only
you
have
have them?
I have 4.
Okay.
Lucky number 4. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will be more covered in tattoos, Erin, in 2025 and 6, mark my words.
Do you already have plans?
I do have plans. I do have plans.
Okay.
I do
With
have
an artist?
Yes, but now
Okay.
toying between a few because there's a
Okay.
few different things that, I wanna get, so yes, and I also want to, like, get tattoos around the world.
Mhm.
Um
Okay, so I wanna pitch Kansas because my artist is
Yes, pitch
brilliant.
it.
Here's one,
Oh,
it's
wow.
Freya, but I
How
have
mu
a ton.
That's stunning. How you have a ton?
Yeah,
I love
I
this
am
one.
covered. Thank you.
I
That's
love the
also
hat.
him. So this is Carlos Ransom as one
I
of the
love
few men I fuck with. Um,
Yes.
he's really great. He's also known regionally to be a great artist to do like nipples for people who have not chosen to have their nipples added back after top
Oh, that's
surgery. So like
fantastic.
he's very trans affirming. He's a great dude. And the other thing is that getting tattoos in Kansas is significantly less expensive than getting them in New York.
Oh my goodness, like, that it's astronomical, and obviously I wanna pay, it's art, it's their
Yeah.
artistry, their time, but it is you gotta really, like yeah,
Well,
it's
our cost of
you're not
living is different.
yeah.
A lot of I work for myself, and a lot of my clients are on the coast because they're really happy to pay my Kansas price, and I have a lovely life with my prices. Anyway, where can people find you in your podcast?
Yes, okay, you can find, myself and Jen, Rebellious, Art Culture Human, all the places that podcasts are podcasting, also on YouTube. You can watch us there if you like the visual. We have an after hours on Patreon that you can subscribe to. On Instagram, we are at rebellious_podcast, and you can find the links for everything there. And we just dropped episode 12 today, so I hope people go and listen. And I love podcasts. I
I do too.
love doing our podcast. I love coming on this podcast with you today. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting
Yeah.
me. It's been so much fun.
Well, I want to ask you one more thing. Besides
Yes.
the podcast, what art are you most excited about creating right now?
So a few different things. I've been
Love that.
working on a one person show for myself that sort of is like a combo of the, I guess, more serious writing that I'm doing and stand up.
Mhm.
Um, I have a Substack that I've started just making myself. I have 43 subscribers. So if you want to be the 44th, You know
I
her
do.
me, Cat Yezbak. And Jennifer and I are writing a couple scripts together, but one I'm really stoked about that's very, very funny. And and yeah, that's it. And just always trying to, I've put myself like defined things that I can and cannot do for so long. And now I'm trying to just live in this space of if I want to do it artistically, why not?
Mhm.
So those are the things I'm excited about. And I'm also trying to not limit myself anymore because I've done
Yeah.
it far too long.
For what it's worth, researching you, it was hard to pinpoint which thing you, like, led with. Like she's a writer who then also does it, you know what I mean? It was like there was a lot to find. So you come off as a real Renaissance person.
Oh my goodness. Well, in my opinion, it's like I've always had like one foot in the world of things I want to do and one foot outside because of, conditioning and the things we tell ourselves, et cetera, et cetera. But thank you because it has been a fun journey discovering that. Like I went to school for the lucrative business of theater, and then sort of like many things blossomed off of that. And yeah, I'll take Renaissance woman.
Creep Show.